Yeah, we started out as just a basic car club, and we're trying to boost the borough up, you know, and we're doing, you know, car shows and all, and try to help the community. We want to get more involved with the community. Yeah, this is a '67 Ford Mustang. I bought it for my daughter's project car I got back there. She's got a '68, and a lot of the parts off of this car will actually interchange, you know, with hers. Well, it come from about 4.5 miles from here. One of my buddies had it. He's got a small salvage yard too. So I try to stick with the cars that I like, and I've always grew up around Fords. So I reckon that's what I'll stick with forever. Didn't have an alternator back then, had a generator. So you had to keep them kind of idled up kind of high to really get the battery to stay charged. But if they still built trucks and cars and stuff with the stuff like this, I reckon it would put the big mechanics and stuff out of business, because basically everybody back then could work on these. Yeah, this truck, when it was new, it didn't even come with signals. People were still able to use hand signals. This has been added on later, aftermarket. Got the push-pull for the flashers and, you know, you turn signals and stuff. They do not cut themselves off. You have to cut them off. It's still 3-speed on the column like it came. These were actually good trucks, and this truck does run perfect. It's got the push button. I've got it out right now. I had to order a replacement, but push button goes right here on this corner of the dash. What you did is you stick the key in it, switch it on, push the button to start it.
My name's Jayne Norton. I'm the treasurer of the Southeastern Cruisers, and this is my shop. Built in 1972, and I've been doing this kind of work for 42 years now. The auto body and repair, and the last several years I've got into restoring old cars part-time, and it's turned full-time. I'm retired from one job and got a full-time job at another now.
Now, of all the cars that you've done, are there any that are your favorites, or are they all equal?
Well, I've enjoyed doing all of them, but I guess the muscle cars is my favorite. Like 70, I had a 70 428 Cobra Jet, and probably a Shelby 66 Shelby GT350 was my favorite car. But I enjoy all of them. There you go. Just lay the car right straight down, do you? This is a 1970 Mach 1 Mustang. This is one of the Mustangs that I've owned over the years. I bought this car brand new in 1970, and my wife drove it most of the time. And I kept it to 1973, put about 24,000 miles on it, and I sold it to a guy that his son was turning 16 years old. And he's owned it ever since then. His daddy told him, said, "Don't never get rid of this car, son." So I'm restoring this car for him now. And I've had the car working on it off and on for about the last 5 years. Ground up restoration, everything brand new on the car, new suspension, new everything. Whatever it got, whatever it needed, it's got. If you'll notice under the hood, it's got a 351 Windsor engine. The car's going to be basically stock, just like it rolled off of the factory, except for the engine dress-up kit. The only thing that's been replaced as far as the sheet metal, it's got 2 new doors on it. It's got a lower front gravel pan, and basically all the rest of the sheet metal is the original sheet metal on the car, and the hood's been replaced. It's got a new hood. My name is Jayne Norton, and I love Fords.
I've had 37 cars, my wife and I have, since we've been married, ranging everything from the basic Volkswagen to Mercedes. But to me, the fun cars were the ones out of the 50s and 60s that had more personality than the cars do today. The shop is where I enjoy coming for relaxation. And we built this building in about 1999 when we moved back to Bladenboro. My dad had a woodworking shop up in the garage, which have all of his tools and things in here, but I wanted more space so I could work on my cars. So we built this nice little one bay shop, fully air conditioned and heated, where I can come and work no matter what the outside conditions are and keep my car safely protected from the elements. This is a 1966 Sunbeam Tiger that I've owned for about 18 years. I bought it from the husband of a friend of my wife's in Wake Forest, North Carolina, and have had it since. We drove the car for 5 or 6 years, and then I decided it's time for a restoration. It's a fairly rare car. There are only 5,700 cars made of this model, of which about 2,500 are still in existence. This car came with a 200 horsepower Ford V8 engine in it, which made it very attractive to people like me, which are interested in strong cars that can be modified. I have a 347 cubic inch, 400 horsepower engine in place now, which will make quite a performer out of this car. To me, I've always loved automobiles in many different facets of it, from hot rodding to sports cars to street machines to modified cars, and this one machine here will culminate all of my efforts, in essence, of a lifetime of passion and work that have gone into cars. I've been working on this seriously the last 2 or 3 years. I've had the car completely apart. The bottom of the car has been scraped and completely refinished. The trunk area is ready, it's completed, and the interior is all stripped down, ready for installation of the new interior kit and new convertible top that I've purchased. So I have probably another year of very busy work to get this car back on the street.
And this is the first car I drove. It's a 1968 Falcon. My daddy would let me drive it around the backyard, around our backyard and everything. He was teaching me how to drive, so he'd let me drive it and everything. And so when I went to get my driver's test, this was the only thing I was used to driving. And also, we went to it was right down the street where you took your driver's test then. And so we went down there and everything, and it was kind of funny because the lady got in the car with me, you know, that rides with you when you go to, you know, take your test. And she said, well, wait a minute, there's not any seat belts in here. And I said, yeah, there is, hold on a minute. And you know, through the years, you know, my daddy's not a car freak like my husband is. So my daddy had sort of, you know, rigged up seat belts. So you had to sort of, you know, tie them around you and hook them. Yeah. And through the years it had gotten old, and the buttons, the switch had gone bad on it. So my daddy put buttons on it, and you had to like turn the key till the red lights come on, and then it was like push this button, flip this one, push that one down, push this one to the side, and then push the last button and it would crank up. And that's how you had to do every time you cranked it. Well, the woman got in and we got the seatbelt finally straight and everything, and then I went to crank it and she seen, and you had to hold the gear stick up too because the gear thing, Jason calls it linkage, was loose, so you had to hold the gear stick up. And anyway, we finally got it cranked and everything, and I took my driver's test in it, and I drove this the last 2 years that I was in school and everything. My 11th and 12th grade year, I drove this, and matter of fact, after me and Jason got married and everything, if I needed an extra car or something, or something was wrong with mine, my daddy let me use this, and I hated to use it because it was, you know, like a, you know, Jason loved it, but I hated it, and I let Jason drive it one time, and Jason realized why I hated it, because you could like turn the steering wheel all the way this way, and the car would stay still. And he said it had a lot of loose motion, you know, you just kind of, you know, you're driving down the road and the steering wheel's doing like this the whole time. But anyway, my daddy, you know, he gave it to me, and so I'm going to keep it, you know, and everything. But in the future, it's possibly, by the time my children get old enough to drive, hopefully they'll be able to take it to the car show. Hopefully the car club will still be going on, and my children will be just, you know, really into the car club scene like Jason and I are, and that, you know, my little girl, probably not. She's a Mustang girl. But my little boy, I believe, as long as it's a Ford, you're going to have him in it. So I believe if it's fixed and pretty, I think he'll take it to the car show. And I think he'd be proud to do it.
This car, it's a 68 Mustang. I bought it originally to Pro Street it. I had a tilt fiberglass front end, you know, the whole 9 yards, and had bought the stuff to do it. My daughter fell in love with it, and she wanted me to fix it back original, so I ended up giving it to her. She's 8-year-old now, and she's wanting to drag it in the shop, so I reckon the Fairlane over there and the Mustang will be going in next, where Daddy won't have nothing to work. He'll have to work out here under the back shelter, I reckon. But she can recognize the Mustang coming down the road. I mean, we'd be going down the road. I mean, you wouldn't way. I mean, we can be way down the road, and she can pick them out just like that. She's a Mustang girl.
Then I started talking to some of the guys in town. They had started a car club, and they finally talked me into joining the car club. At that time, a Mustang had sit up on the shelter for 10 years, and I didn't drive it that much until I joined the car club. And then I was very motivated. I met a lot of good guys in the car club. They was very friendly. They liked to talk about cars. We made a lot of jokes. We made a lot of friends. And one of the things I really liked about it is when you go to the club, everybody would jump on you and talk about your car and this, that, and the other, and nobody seemed to get mad. Fords would jump on the Chevrolets, Chevrolets would jump on the Fords, and that kind of thing. And I said, this is the kind of place I want to be, in a club where friends can know how I can talk to friends about their cars and not get mad. But yet still, if something happened, they would go and help the other guy fix their car or give them suggestions on how to fix their car. And that's still the reason I'm still with the club now is for that very same reason. The club now has some very good people in it, and I want to be around good people at all times.
A lot of people will join a club just to say they're in a club. The ones we got now all work together. We got the best members we could have. Everybody works together. I mean, you know, so it's better to have a small club with people that actually get the job done than a big club, you know, and just, that's the way I feel about it. That's the way the rest of us feel about it.